It was 1985 when the world was introduced to a bold new idea, a place where movie lovers could rent films, take them home, and enjoy them without having to buy a costly VHS tape. The man behind this idea was David Cook, a visionary businessman. Cook's goal was simple: to create a store that made renting movies easy and affordable. Little did he know, this small idea would soon turn into a multi-billion-dollar empire, taking over the world of home entertainment. The first Blockbuster store opened in Dallas, Texas. It wasn't much, just a small store filled with shelves of VHS tapes, but it quickly caught the attention of customers. People loved the idea of renting their favorite films, picking them from an actual store rather than waiting for them to arrive by mail. It was convenient, and for movie lovers, it was revolutionary. By 1987, Blockbuster had caught the eyes of investors. Blockbuster, once just an idea, was now a growing business. It began to expand rapidly, opening new stores across the country. As the franchise model spread, Blockbuster was on its way to becoming a household name. The 1990s were the golden years for Blockbuster. With over 4,000 stores nationwide, Blockbuster became the king of movie rentals. It wasn't just a store, it was an experience. People would walk into Blockbuster, browse the aisles filled with the latest releases, pick a movie, and head to the counter with their selections. It became part of American culture. Blockbuster was everywhere. But it wasn't just about renting movies. Blockbuster was a lifestyle. The stores were brightly lit, the staff was friendly, and there were always new releases lined up at the front. People would plan their weekends around trips to the store. It was the place where you went to escape reality, to immerse yourself in the magic of cinema. Blockbuster's success was unstoppable. In 1994, the company went public, and soon it became a multi-billion-dollar business. At its peak, Blockbuster was the king of entertainment. But with all this success, something darker was on the horizon, a new threat that would change everything. As Blockbuster's stores grew, so did its competition. But the competition wasn't just other video rental stores. It was a new kind of business that people didn't take seriously at first. In 1997, Netflix was born, offering a new way to rent movies through the mail. Netflix was small at first, just a mail-order service where people could rent DVDs online. But the concept was revolutionary. No late fees, no need to leave your house, and no more driving to a Blockbuster store. For many people, Netflix was a dream come true. But Blockbuster, still riding high on its success, paid little attention to this upstart company. They thought the model would never work. They were wrong. By the early 2000s, Netflix had grown, and their DVD rental service became more popular. Blockbuster, sensing a threat, tried to compete by offering an online service, but their attempt was slow, clumsy, and poorly executed. Netflix, on the other hand, was already growing rapidly and building momentum. The competition was fierce, and Blockbuster was not ready for what was about to come. In 2000, something happened that could have changed everything for Blockbuster. Netflix, then a small company, offered to sell itself to Blockbuster for just $50 million. Blockbuster's executives laughed at the offer and turned it down. At the time, Netflix was seen as just a quirky idea, a small fish in a huge pond. But Blockbuster missed the opportunity of a lifetime. In 2000, something happened that could have changed everything for Blockbuster. Netflix, then a small company, offered to sell itself to Blockbuster for just $50 million. Blockbuster's executives laughed at the offer and turned it down. At the time, Netflix was seen as just a quirky idea, a small fish in a huge pond. But Blockbuster missed the opportunity of a lifetime. Blockbuster didn't understand the future of home entertainment. They believed that their in-store rental model was unbeatable. What Blockbuster didn't realize was that the world was changing, and the internet was becoming the new frontier. Netflix wasn't just a rental service, it was the future. By rejecting the offer, Blockbuster sealed its own fate. As Netflix continued to grow, it began to offer something even more revolutionary: streaming. With streaming, people could watch movies instantly, without leaving their homes. Blockbuster was still focused on physical rentals, while Netflix was moving toward the digital future. The gap was widening, and Blockbuster was falling behind. As the 2000s progressed, Blockbuster's empire began to show cracks. Their stores, once bustling with customers, were starting to empty out. The rise of the internet and streaming services changed everything. People no longer wanted to drive to a store, pick a movie, and wait in line to rent it. The convenience of online services was too appealing. Blockbuster, stubbornly sticking to its old model, failed to recognize the change in consumer behavior. The company was too focused on physical rentals and its brick-and-mortar stores. Meanwhile, Netflix, Redbox, and other competitors were growing rapidly, offering new ways to access movies that fit the demands of the modern world. In 2004, Blockbuster tried to catch up by launching its own online rental service, but it was too little, too late. By then, Netflix had already established itself as the leader in the industry. Blockbuster's online service struggled, and its physical stores continued to decline. In 2007, Netflix made a bold move. They introduced a streaming service that allowed people to watch movies instantly over the internet. It was a game changer. With the rise of high-speed internet and better technology, streaming quickly became the preferred way to watch movies. People no longer had to wait for DVDs to arrive by mail. They could watch whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. Meanwhile, Blockbuster's stores were in trouble. The company tried to adapt by launching its own streaming service, but it was clumsy and unorganized. Blockbuster's physical stores, once filled with customers, were now starting to look empty. The writing was on the wall. Blockbuster's time was running out. By 2009, Blockbuster was in serious financial trouble. The company was losing money, its stock price was plummeting, and it was struggling to keep up with the competition. The once dominant force in home entertainment was now facing a battle for survival. In 2010, after years of decline, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. The company that once dominated the video rental industry had failed to keep up with the changing times. Blockbuster's physical stores closed one by one, leaving empty shelves behind. The once ubiquitous brand that had been a staple of American life was now a shadow of its former self. Blockbuster's demise was a result of many factors, but one thing was clear: the company had failed to adapt. While Netflix embraced streaming and the internet, Blockbuster held on to its outdated business model. The world had changed, and Blockbuster had not. In the end, Blockbuster's failure wasn't just about bad decisions or poor timing. It was about missing the bigger picture. They couldn't see the future, and when they finally tried to adapt, it was too late. In 2013, Blockbuster announced that it would close its remaining stores. The final blow had been dealt. But there was one store that refused to close. One Blockbuster location in Bend, Oregon. It became a museum of sorts, a nostalgic look back at the heyday of video rentals. This last Blockbuster store became a symbol of the company's rise and fall. People traveled from all over the country to visit, taking pictures with the neon sign, reminiscing about the days when renting a movie meant something special. But even this last Blockbuster store couldn't escape the reality of the digital age. Today, the Bend Blockbuster remains open, a lone survivor in a world that has long moved past VHS tapes and DVDs. It stands as a testament to what Blockbuster once was, and a reminder of what happens when a company fails to evolve with the times. Blockbuster's collapse left a lasting impact on the home entertainment industry. It wasn't just a story about one company's failure. It was a warning to others. Blockbuster had the resources, the brand power, and the chance to dominate the future of entertainment. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about complacency and missed opportunities. Other companies quickly learned from Blockbuster's mistakes. Netflix grew into the giant it is today, and other streaming services like Hulu, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime followed suit. The world of home entertainment had forever changed, and Blockbuster had failed to keep up. The rise and fall of Blockbuster serves as a reminder to businesses everywhere. The lesson is clear. Success is never guaranteed, and the future can change in the blink of an eye. Blockbuster was once the king of home entertainment, but the inability to adapt to technological shifts left it vulnerable to disruption. The rise of streaming services and the decline of physical media reshaped the entire entertainment landscape, leaving Blockbuster as a relic of a bygone era. Blockbuster's decline wasn't just about losing customers, it was also about the company's inability to manage its finances. At its peak, Blockbuster had billions of dollars in revenue, but the company had massive debts and overhead costs. Running thousands of physical stores across the country wasn't cheap, and maintaining its rental inventory became more difficult as the business model grew outdated. The company also failed to innovate its pricing strategy, which continued to rely heavily on late fees. These fees, which Blockbuster initially thought were a key revenue stream, became a source of frustration for customers. As Netflix and others offered subscription models with no late fees, Blockbuster's business practices looked increasingly outdated and customer-unfriendly. By the time Blockbuster began to face its financial problems, the company's enormous size and debt had become an albatross around its neck. The once thriving video rental giant was now drowning in a sea of debt and had no clear plan to pivot. The writing was on the wall. When Netflix introduced streaming in 2007, it didn't just change the way people rented movies, it changed the entire entertainment landscape. Suddenly, consumers had access to an almost endless library of content, available at the touch of a button, without the need to leave home or wait for DVDs to arrive in the mail. And it was all part of a monthly subscription with no late fees. Blockbuster's failure to adapt to streaming was its biggest mistake. While Netflix embraced the digital revolution, Blockbuster clung to its outdated rental model. When Blockbuster finally entered the streaming market, it was too late to catch up. Netflix had already become the dominant force in entertainment, and the world had moved on from physical rentals. The streaming revolution didn't just change how we watch movies, it changed how we think about entertainment. Streaming services Movies gave consumers more control, more choice, and most importantly, convenience. And as the market shifted, Blockbuster's inability to keep up was fatal. Blockbuster wasn't just a business, it was a cultural phenomenon. It was the place where families, friends, and couples spent time picking out movies for the weekend. The smell of popcorn filled the air, and the brightly lit aisles were packed with eager customers. Blockbuster stores were often filled with laughter, conversation, and the excitement of finding the perfect movie for the night. For a generation, Blockbuster was synonymous with home entertainment. It wasn't just about the movies, it was the experience. It was the excitement of browsing the new releases, the sense of nostalgia when you picked up an old classic, and the thrill of staying up late to watch a rented movie you had been dying to see. And even as the company began to falter, there was still a sense of loyalty among its customers. Blockbuster was a part of the cultural fabric of the 90s and early 2000s. But as more and more people turned to digital streaming, Blockbuster's nostalgic appeal began to fade. Today, Blockbuster is gone, but its legacy remains. The name Blockbuster still carries a sense of nostalgia, and many people still remember the joy of a trip to the store. In a sense, the fall of Blockbuster represents the end of an era, a time when home entertainment meant physically going to a store, picking out a VHS tape, and returning it by a certain time. But Blockbuster's story is also a lesson in business survival. The company was unable to evolve with the changing times. It didn't embrace the digital age, and it failed to innovate in a world that was rapidly becoming more connected. As a result, it became a casualty of its own success. Blockbuster's collapse was a turning point in the entertainment industry. It was a wake-up call for companies that relied on outdated business models. The world was changing, and Blockbuster didn't see it coming. In Bend, Oregon, one last Blockbuster store remains. It's a living museum, a place where people can still experience a taste of the past. The shelves are lined with old VHS tapes, movie posters, and neon signs that harken back to a time when renting a movie meant something more. For some, visiting this last Blockbuster is like stepping into a time machine. It's a place that holds memories of childhood weekends spent picking out movies, sharing laughs with friends, and enjoying the simple pleasure of watching a film at home. Though it may be a relic of a bygone era, the last Blockbuster is a tribute to what once was, a reminder that no company, no matter how big, is immune to the forces of change. Meanwhile, Netflix has risen to dominate the entertainment world. From a small DVD rental service to the global leader in streaming, Netflix has reshaped the way we watch movies and TV shows. With millions of subscribers and a growing library of original content, Netflix has left Blockbuster far behind. Netflix's success wasn't just about streaming, it was about understanding the future of entertainment. They recognized that consumers wanted more convenience, more control, and more content. And by embracing technology and innovation, Netflix has become the undisputed giant in the industry. Blockbuster, on the other hand, is a cautionary tale, a company that had the potential to shape the future, but failed to recognize the signs of change. And while Netflix now dominates the market, Blockbuster serves as a reminder of what happens when a business refuses to evolve. The fall of Blockbuster isn't just about one company, it's about the shifting nature of entertainment. The way we consume movies and TV shows has changed dramatically in the last 2 decades. Streaming has replaced DVDs, and digital platforms have made traditional rental stores nearly obsolete. Blockbuster's failure to adapt to these changes was a sign of a larger trend. As technology advances, businesses must evolve to stay relevant. The world of entertainment is no longer about renting physical copies of movies. It's about instant access, convenience, and choice. For Blockbuster, the future arrived too fast, and despite its attempts to adapt, it couldn't keep up. What can we learn from Blockbuster's rise and fall? The biggest lesson is the importance of innovation and adaptability. Businesses that fail to recognize changes in technology and consumer behavior risk being left behind. Blockbuster had the resources to innovate, but it didn't. It clung to its old model, thinking it would always be the leader. In the end, it was outpaced by companies like Netflix that saw the future and embraced it. For any business, whether in entertainment or elsewhere, the lesson is clear. Staying static in a changing world is dangerous. Only those who adapt and evolve can survive. As Blockbuster's stores closed and the company filed for bankruptcy, it left behind a void. For many people, the end of Blockbuster was like the closing of a chapter in their lives. It was the end of an era, a time when renting movies was a community event, when people would share stories and memories about the films they watched. But in the end, the story of Blockbuster's rise and fall is one of both triumph and tragedy. Triumph because the company once had it all. Tragedy because it failed to see the future. Blockbuster's final years were marked by attempts at redemption, trying to survive in a digital world that no longer had a place for its outdated model. Blockbuster's story ended not with a bang, but with a slow, quiet fade into the background of history. The stores closed, the brand disappeared, and the world moved on. But the memories linger, of Friday nights spent searching for the perfect movie, of nostalgic trips to the video store, and of the excitement of the big screen adventure that awaited at home. For those who remember the golden years of Blockbuster, it's hard to let go. But in the fast-moving world of business and technology, nothing lasts forever. And so the rise and fall of Blockbuster serves as both a tribute to a time long gone and a warning for businesses everywhere: adapt or perish. As we close the chapter on Blockbuster, we are reminded that change is the only constant in the world of business and entertainment. While Blockbuster's story may have ended in decline, the lessons it leaves behind are still relevant today. Companies must be agile, forward-thinking, and willing to take risks if they want to survive in an ever-evolving marketplace. Though the last Blockbuster store stands as a nostalgic reminder of the past, the future belongs to those who embrace new ideas and innovations. Streaming services, digital content, and new technologies continue to shape how we experience entertainment, leaving traditional models behind. As we look forward, the story of Blockbuster is more than just the end of a company. It's a reflection of the changing world we live in. It reminds us that in a world driven by rapid technological advances, there's no room for complacency. The companies that thrive will be the ones that evolve with the times and stay one step ahead of the curve. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the rise and fall of Blockbuster. It's a story that captivates not only because of its downfall, but because it's a tale of ambition, success, and ultimately the consequences of failing to adapt to change. From its glory days to its eventual collapse, Blockbuster's story is a poignant reminder that even giants can fall. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that explore the dramatic twists and turns of business, entertainment, and beyond. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the fascinating tales of companies that once ruled their industries and the lessons they left behind. And as we reflect on the past, let's remember, the story of Blockbuster may have ended, but the world keeps turning. What will the next chapter of entertainment look like? Only time will tell.